All right, one of the things we didn't get to today was frequency tables. So if you remember from our notes in Unit 5 here, two-way frequency table is essentially a visual representation of two different types of categorical data. So for example, in this question, we asked people whether they wanted a new vehicle or a sport utility vehicle or a sports car. So you bought a new one, which one would you want? And so if you look at the chart here, okay, what we can essentially see is things are broken down into these two categories, male and female, and then sport utility vehicle and sports car. You could even have a third if you wanted. The important thing to notice about the chart is each cell represents how many males in sport utility vehicles or female in sport utility vehicles, and that we add up going from left to right, and at the end here represents the total in that row, and then underneath it represents the total in a column. And then the bottom corner over here is the total in the entire chart. So we can kind of figure out how many are supposed to go where based on the totals at the end of the rows or columns. All right, so there's three types of things they're going to ask here for us. They're going to ask us to figure out, for example, how many males would like a sport utility vehicle, and they may ask you for a percentage. So we would look at the males in the sport utility vehicles, which is SUV, just 21, and just in the male column, there's 60 people. We're not comparing to anyone else; it's just the males. So this would be 21 out of 60. And to get the percent, we would just divide those two numbers and then multiply times 100. If we wanted to do females who, or people that wanted a sports car that are female, we would look in the sports car column, we would check female and see it's 45. And since we're only talking about the people who wanted sports cars, we would compare it to the 84. Versus, let's say, if we wanted to know how many, of all the people surveyed, how many females wanted sports cars? So in this case, we would take a look at the 45, and since we're talking about everybody, we're going to compare it to everyone in the whole study, which is then 240. All right, so that's the idea here. So for our question, the first one we can see, a public opinion poll was taken to explore the relationship between the supportive age group and a candidate in an election, and the polls are listed below, the results. So what percent of the 21 to 40 age group? This is telling me what exact specification. I have to only be talking about 21 to 40 and was for the candidate. Inside this 21 to 40 group, how much was for the candidate? And we can see that just the for part there, okay? And we want to know percentage. So remember, percent is equal to part over the whole, okay? And then times 100. So it's 30, and then we gotta add them up. So 30 plus 12 is 42, plus 8 is 50, okay? And so we can take this, all right, and we can do, if you remember, 30, 12, and 8. So if you feel like adding, just to check it, go for it. 30 plus 12 plus 8, okay? And then we had, remember in ours, 30 out of that 50, okay? Remember, it's 3/5. I want to know the decimal. So if I go back up and hit enter, I can bring it down, and I'll hit control enter. It's 0.6, and then I multiply that answer times 100, and I get 60. So it's 60%, and that would be my answer. Okay, take a look at number 16. We got the radio station determining what type of music to play by taking a sample of middle, high, and students. Okay, so we can read it. We can see what they're preferring. This is talking about the different types of categories. What percentage of college students? That means I'm only looking at the college students row. All right, prefer classic rock. So it's 14, and then the in that row is 16, 20, and 14. So if we add up the 16, the 20, and the 14, that's 50. We're talking about classic rock, which is just this group. So 14 out of 50, control enter, is 0.28. And if we multiply times 100, that decimal point is going to move over 2 spots. We'll get 28%. And so there's our answer. All right. If you take a look at the next page here, get the same type of question. What percentage of students chose soccer as their favorite sport? Now this is students, so this is everybody. So soccer is this column, so we want to add these up, okay? So that's 99, and then we want to know, remember what we would normally do is total all these, right? Total all these. And then the grand total is going to go there. That's what we want to know. How many are in the survey all together? So if we add up 42, 58, 20, okay, we'll get that number. 42, 58, 20, right? 84, 41, 5, 81, 41, and 5. And you can see I already typed something wrong. Okay. Oh, and it's 84, not 81. That's why we're going to double check. What is going on here? That's what we got. Sorry for all the crazy typos here. 42, 58, 20, 84, 41, 5. That's 250. So we're talking about that 99 out of 250. Okay. And then we want to do that. And we put a decimal point underneath, by the way. It'll also do that for us and round it. It'll make it a decimal instead of a fraction. And then we multiply times 100, and I get 39.6. And so there's my answer. All right. That's essentially how we're doing that one. Okay. Here there's just the answers. So what relative frequency that a male prefers to ski. So there's 60 males, right? 22 of the females prefer to ski. So they want to know male prefers to ski. So we have to actually figure this out, right? So of the 60 males, 45 want to snowboard, which means that 15 want to ski, okay? Right? And then what relative to the male skis? So that would be 15 out of 60, right? Which is 1/4, so that's 0.25. So be careful on this one, because the number they gave you, this 45, was actually for snowboarding, all right? And then 19, you're going to do the same thing here, okay? If there are 180 students in the ninth grade, what percentage of ninth grade students belong to more than one club? So more than one club in the ninth grade is going to be here, all right? Remember, there could be no clubs, so that's why there's a disconnect between the actual number adding these up and 180, all right? So if we want to use the 180 here, it's then going to be 33 plus 12, which is 45 out of 180. Which is going to be 1/4, and that's equal to 0.25. So times 100 is 25%. You got to make sure you throw that percent on there, or you're not going to get full credit for that question, okay? Keep going down, same thing. Predict how many of the school's 350 males would prefer comedy. All right. So how many prefer comedy? It's 70 out of 105, right? 70 out of 105. And if we wanted to, we can convert that to a decimal, okay? 70 out of 105. So that's 0.6667, or 2/3. So we'd say about 2/3 of the males would prefer. Looks like I'm writing myself in a quarter. All right, comedy. Nobody puts baby in a quarter. EDY. All right. And we could say, because these students represent the survey, essentially they would represent the entire school if the survey's done. So, all right, that was it for tonight, guys. Thanks for sticking along. Have a good night, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.